Well, it's Monday, and that means we take any of your financial questions that have come in and try to answer as many as we can. Are you ready?
Well, I'll let you know after you ask me the questions. All right,
Well,
what do you
this
got?
is from Brenda, who says, I was excited to hear that the United States gross domestic product shows growth for the third quarter. Does a positive GDP mean the recession is over?
No, it doesn't. You know, it used to be if you had 2 quarters of growing GDP, there was one statistician who came up with that theory. But we have a Bureau of Economic Statistics, I believe it's called, that is much more cautious, and they want to see a number of indicia of growth before they say the recession's over. So the answer is that wasn't enough, and they're still waiting to confirm it.
Yeah, do you think it's over?
No.
I don't think so. Okay, this is Noah, who says, under the Troubled Asset Relief Program, or TARP, the United States government purchased equity shares in scores of financial services companies like Citigroup, for example. Since these purchases were made with taxpayers' money, this would make all tax-paying Americans shareholders in the various companies, right? Well, who in government is representing the interests of the taxpayers with regard to these giant shareholder stakes?
Well, NOAA right now is the Department of the Treasury, but I understand there's some bills before Congress that would set up a trust of sorts and have a 3-member board of trustees appointed by the president who could make decisions, supposedly impartial decisions. Right now, it's strictly political. I mean, the Treasury Department, under the pressure of the president, could flip those shares any way they want to. But they're hoping that somehow these companies like Citicorp will buy back the debt and will cancel it all out so they won't have to worry about it. That's what they hope.
Yeah. Ben says, to create additional income, my wife and I are thinking about purchasing a rental property. We recently bought our own fixer-upper home and find we enjoy and are able to do most home renovation projects ourselves. It seems like there are some really good deals in today's housing market. We are young and eager to get started. What would you recommend we do first?
Well, Ben, I want to tell you that's the way to a fortune. That's one of the best ways to grow money is through rental property. But what you've got to do is make sure I would take somebody with you who is a building contractor, an architect, or some expert, and go through the houses. There are people who are full-time inspectors and who could go through the house because sometimes they've been trashed. The recommendation is make sure you turn on the utilities. So you can flip a switch and everything works. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, you don't want it. But there are some tremendous buys out there, and it looks like the banks are finally coming down to more realistic levels. They want to dump those properties, get them off their books. And if you shop wisely, you can pick up some really good stuff. But remember, you're going to be working your head off looking after somebody else's property. The lady will call you in the middle of the night, you know, my pipes are leaking and things like that. So that's part of the price. But it's a good way to build an estate, substantial.
This is Patricia, who says, I've read where in order to take advantage of possible higher interest rates in the future, I should ladder my investments. What does that mean, and how would I do that?
Well, laddering means you buy 1-year CDs and you get 3-year CDs and you get 5-year CDs and you get 10-year CDs and you get a part of your money in them. I tell you, I wouldn't get any CDs these days. The interest rates are appallingly low. There are so many better deals that you can get. If you just look around in the market, you've got exchange-traded funds that have various bonds that pay much higher interest, and it's easy to find these things. I like some of the things like, well, they're actually set up as master limited partnerships, so they have to pay out everything, all their profits, and they pay very high rates. You can look at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12% versus 1% or 0.5% or 2% on CDs. So laddering in the old days used to make some sense, but it doesn't. I don't think any of those CDs make any sense now. What else?
This is Stan, who says, I recently heard that many investors are holding cash and not yet re-entering the stock market. What are the ramifications of this down the road?
Well, I think in terms of the overall market value, there's something like 40% in cash right now, which is a big deal. Once that cash comes in, it'll boost the market. but it's not there yet. But if it does come in, it'll help. You don't know where it's going to go, though. It doesn't necessarily have to come into the stock market. It can go overseas someplace to foreign stocks, or it could go into gold or something. But the cash is there, and it could be significant.
That's all the time we've got for today. A lot of interesting questions.
Yeah. Save your Confederate money, the South will rise again. That's what they used to tell us in the old days.
Don't quote him on that, okay?
Well, whatever. Maybe you can save your continental currency, or whatever. But there, you know, in the midst of problems, there are always opportunities, and there are opportunities to make some money in this troubled world that we live in.